Okay, let's go.
Welcome back to Fish.Chicago. Today I'm going to be showing you how to set up a new Baitcaster, whether you have a regular one or a DC. This will cover both of them. This is just going to be the basics. I'm positioned here where we have about a 12-mile-an-hour wind, pretty much dead straight at us. This is going to be pretty much worst case scenario for setting it up. But if you can get it set up like this and be able to cast in a headwind like this, you'll be able to cast anywhere. All right, just a quick bit of information really quick while you walk down here to the water. I do have a heavy bait. So this is a half-ounce KO wobbler. These are a lot easier to cast. Stuff with weight is always easier. And then I also brought this guy. This is a little shad dancer. These are balsa wood, so they're super light. So I'm going to set you up to where you'll be able to switch between heavy baits and light baits on the fly, no problem. We'll be able to get you casting real quick. So we're going to start off with the DC. This is a Curado DC. This is going to be on my Fenwick HMG. It's a 7-foot medium heavy fast action rod. We're going to start off with the DCs because they're a lot easier to set up. They don't have as many braking options or positions, so they tend to be a lot easier to set up. So if you use braid, number 2 is going to be pretty much a set it and forget it type of thing. 3 is going to be more for your fluorocarbon and your monofilament. 4 is pretty much your anti-backlash. You can throw that without thumbing it. You're not going to have any problems whatsoever. Number 1 is it gets a little tricky, but you know, with the right setups, you'll be perfectly fine. I like to leave mine on 2. So when you first set up a baitcaster, first thing you want to know, you have a tension knob right here. There's a couple of different ways to do this. What I like to do is I like to tighten this all the way down so that when you release your spool, it doesn't drop. And then I want to back off of this really slow. And you're going to go just until your bait starts to fall. Right when your bait starts to fall, you are good to go. Like I said, on a DC, if you just leave it like that, and you leave this on number 2, you'll be perfectly fine. So this should be set to go. Give it a go. No backlash, right? I might even be able to on 2. Again, this is with a heavier bait. Might be able to just give this a whirl out there and not even have to thumb it. There you go. So let's say you're fishing and you're fishing with a heavy bait or vice versa and you want to switch to a different bait, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to take your bait. I usually tie them on. For example's sake, I'm going to keep this snap swivel on here. But we're just going to swap these out. Throw on our new bait. Now this thing doesn't weigh anything. So what I'm going to do, same thing, just tighten. You know, this is going to be a little tighter because of the heavier bait. Just back off of it till it falls. And then once it falls like that, nice and easy, go ahead and give her a throw, and you'll be perfectly fine. Again, these are very small casts. Like if I were to whip it out there, I could really get plenty of distance out there. So that's going to be for a DC bait caster. Now, what happens if you buy a regular bait caster? We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to start off. So this is going to be a Lew's KVD. This is the KVD 1XH. So it's the higher speed spool. It is the 8.3 to 1. So we're just going to set this up exactly the same way. But these non-DCs are a little trickier. The reason for that is because I have 2 different sets of brakes. The DCs are a digital cast that's going to have digital braking. So it's essentially got a little computer inside that's going to really fine-tune the brakes pretty much on the fly for you. These are quite a bit different. So you got 2 different types of brakes. You have your magnetic brake on the side here. I would suggest for most people, start off on 10 and then cast and back down as you go just to, get used to it. This guy, there's a little pin on this side. You're going to pull this out. Pop this off. Inside of here, you're going to have centrifugal brakes. So these, when you turn these on, and it's nice because Lew's labels these on the inside, so I know on is up. When you turn these on, what they're going to do is as this spool starts to fly, those centrifugal brakes are going to rub on the inside of this brass ring and they're going to create a resistance so that the spool doesn't overspin. I like to keep 2 on, so I like to keep the 1 and the bottom 1 on, and then the 2 outside ones off. So those are going to be your 2 different brakes. There's the magnets inside. And then on the magnetic brakes, like I said, what we're going to do is we're going to start at 10, and we're going to see how this sets up. So same deal. We're going to hit our release. Make sure it just starts to fall. This should be good to go. Throw it out. There you go. So that's how that throws. Again, this is a heavier bait, and this is just light throws. If I wanted to go ahead and wing this out there again, absolutely could. Now, that's going to be with the brakes on 10, so you're not getting a whole, bunch of distance with a real heavy bait like this. So I would slowly go back, but just for example's sake, I'm going to back this down to where I typically use it. I'm going to set it to 3. I'm somewhere between 2 and 4 all day, every day, no matter the bait size that I throw. So I'm going to set mine to a 3. I'm not going to change the tension knob. We're going to wing it out there, and we're going to see how much more distance we get. So I don't know if you can see that, but we got a lot more distance that time around. It was also much easier to, throw that way out there. Even with, a gentle cast, brake setting being on 3, just a little one-handed pitch here, you still get so much more distance. Now we're going to switch it up. We're going to throw on the really light bait, pop in on here, and we're good to go. So we've switched baits now. This one's going to be a little lighter. We're just going to make sure that this still falls, and we should be good to go. So now, again, we'll do like a nice one-handed cast. And again, don't forget, this is into a headwind. So we got about a 12-mile-an-hour headwind right now. If I was on the other side, I'd be able to whip this out so much farther. But yeah, this is just, again, like I said, kind of the basics. My spool is freezing. That's so funny. It's freezing as I'm throwing this. So just to recap really quick, regular baitcaster, you got to put it on your reel. You want to crank your brakes all the way up to the maximum that they can go. Make sure you tighten down your spool tensioner all the way down. Then you're going to want to hit your release. Make sure your bait stays, and then back off of it just till it starts to fall. You'll be set from there, and then from there you can start backing down off of your brakes as you get more comfortable casting. Until you get really comfortable with baitcasters, every time you change your bait, crank this all the way up again, hit your release, back down until it starts to fall, just until you get comfortable. On a DC, same deal, get it installed. I would set your braking on these Shimano DCs. It's usually 1 through 4. I would set it at 2 or 3, maybe 3 to begin with. 2 if you think you can, get the hang of it really quick. And then, same thing, throw your bait on, have it hang at the end of the rod, crank down on your spool tensioner, hit your release, and then back off of it very slow until your bait just starts to fall. You'll be good to go. You'll be able to cast anything, anytime. After that, you'll be able to throw a regular bait caster and a DC bait caster, no problems whatsoever. And again, if you can throw into a headwind, then you'll be able to throw it a country mile throwing with the wind. I hope this helps you guys out. If you guys have any questions whatsoever about new bait casters or any other types of reels, be sure to leave it down in the comments. I'll see you next time.